Okay, guys, ugliest podcast ever. So, you'll hear things in the background, I'm sure, Deal or No Deal. Other games, kids walking around, you may see a dog. Just live with it. You want the answers, I'm providing. Alright, so first questions. This is number 6.4a. Number A. Y equals 4 plus 3 sine of 2 times the quantity of x minus pi over 4. Okay? Labeling parts. 4 is your vertical shift. 3 is your amplitude. 2 affects your period. So, speaking of dogs, so you get 2 pi over 2, so your period is going to end up being pi. And then this is going to be your phase shift. So your phase shift is going to be pi over 4 to the right. Just making sure you can actually read that. Somebody yell if I end up going too low. All right. So on your graph, since we're up, since the vertical shift is up 4, x, y, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then your graph, you're going to come across here with your vertical shift. Your amplitude is up and down 3, so you're going to go high as 7 and as low as 1. And your marks across the bottom here are going to go, you have 4 marks, and then you hit your period. So then this is going to be pi. And then another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 pi. Halfway through is going to be pi over 2. Halfway between these two is going to be 3 pi over 2. Now, normally we would start here at 4 at the center, go up to our maximum, come back down to the center, go down to our minimum, and come back. However, remember we've got this shift up over here of pi over 4 to the right. That's going to be one section over here. This pi over the 4 is half of pi over 2. So this part, instead of starting here on the y-axis, is going to start here, and then it's going to go up, and then come back down, and then come back. Oops, too far. Sorry, I'm doing this way off on the sides. It's a little bit hard to see or line things up appropriately. So you come up, come back down, come back up, and then you come back down and come back up. You're going to finish right over here. It would actually be, let's see, this would be 5 pi over 2. Okay? Dog, come on, back up. No, seriously, get out of the math. I know you want to learn. So for B, y equals a negative 3 minus 2 sine of 3 times the quantity of x minus pi to the third. For the rest of these, I'm going to be planning on going by relatively quickly in terms of the actual graphing part. Your vertical shift. Your amplitude here is negative 2, which means that your graph, normally sines start in the middle, come back up, come across. This one is going to, since it's a negative amplitude, is going to start down, come back up, and come like this. Your period is going to equal 2 pi over 3. And then we're going to go, your phase shift is going to be pi over 3 to the right. So it's actually going to go a full half cycle. In graphing this, we want to start lower. So I've got negative 3 here. It's going to go as high as negative 1 and as low as negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 2 pi over 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 4 pi over 3. So the midway points here are going to be pi, because that's halfway, what's half of 2/3? That's going to be pi over 3. I was getting ahead of myself. This one's going to be pi here. So every 2, you go pi over 3. So pi over 3, 2 pi to the 3, 3 pi over 3. Normally, we would start here. Here's our axis. Normally, we'd start in the center. Remember, everything's shifting to the right by pi over 3, so I'm going to go here. Then we'll go up, middle, down, middle, up, middle, down, middle. And you get this. Now ideally you should probably work this backwards so it's hitting the y-axis so it looks really, really nice. And yes, this is basically, if we did it without a phase shift, we would have essentially a cosine. So the dog didn't want to see that one. C. Let me check it on my computer. Y equals a negative 1 plus 4 cosine of 1/2 of x plus pi over 2. Now the interesting thing here is that we've got that coefficient of 1/2. Let's make sure I'm still legible. Vertical shift. Amplitude. Now, for your period, you've got 2 pi over 1/2. So that's going to turn out to be 4 pi. And then here you've got your phase shift of left pi over 2. So it's going to be actually a very, very slight one. When you do it like this, especially since we're going to the left, please give yourself some space that way. And negative 1. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, etc. So 1, 2, 3. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be 4 pi. So that's 2 pi. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be 8 pi. So this will be 6 pi. This is going to be a negative 2 pi. So normally cosine would start down up at the top. So it would go up 4. So it would be starting up here at the maximum. Since we've got this shift of left of pi over 2. Now notice, halfway through our period is 2 pi. So that means that each one of these marks is pi. So I'm actually going to shift this thing over just half of a mark. So half of a mark there, half of a mark there. Come down, oops, down here. Come down to the bottom of down 4 here. Come back up. Come back up. Come back to the middle. Down. Middle. Up. And then we've got our 2 cycles there. So we come down. And go from there. Alright. I thought I may have bottomed out on either. So again, when you have a fraction out front, you just go ahead and through and divide it. Remember your middle school math, when you have fractions, you divide by. The reciprocal. Part D. Y equals a negative 1 plus 5 cosine of 4 times x minus 3 pi over 8. A little different here. So, vertical shift, amplitude, your period is going to be 2 pi over 4, so it's going to be pi over 2. And then we're going to go right, 3 pi over 8. So we got negative 1 going across. 1, 2, y and x, negative 2, negative 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that is going to have, this is going to be pi over 2 here, which makes this pi over 4. Now the thing to keep in mind is that remember half of pi over 4 is going to be pi over 8. So our shift is going to be 3 to the right. So I'm not going to just move 1, I'm going to move all the way over to 3. So normally, since this is cosine, and it would start up here, I'm going to shift over to the third one and go down and follow it from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the interesting thing is that you could also back it up to the left 5 if you wanted to. So this would be pi. This would be 3 pi to the 4 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing one additional one because we're moving it over so much. And that that should do it. So then we'd have 5 pi over 4 here. So again, maximum, so we're starting out here at -1. Maximum is going to go up to 5. I'm going to go low down is -6. So normally I would start up at the maximum, except now I'm going to be over 3 marks. So this will be my starting point. I'll come down to the middle, go all the way down to the bottom, come back to the middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top. So when you draw this, you can get a nice 2 curves. Now you should back this up again, as I said. So backing it up isn't that far. You just follow the pattern, but you do it backwards. So top, then I'd be at the middle, the bottom, back in the middle. And what this turns out to be is just essentially a flipped sine curve as you're starting off in the middle. So that is 6.48. I'll start with 6.5b in a second.